Setting up and configuring your multi-viewers can be done by simply jumping into the virtual panel and going into the configuration menu and selecting the multi-viewer tab. The Graphite system has two inbuilt multi-viewers that allow you to select multiple layouts and define each of the sources per box, so to speak, in each layout. What we can see is that I've selected multi-viewer 1 at the top. The first button will allow the selection of the multi-viewer layout. Up to 16 windows can be displayed at any given time, and these are independent between multi-viewer 1 and multi-viewer 2. This gives a total of up to 32 discrete independent windows that can be viewed and monitored simultaneously. All of these views are real-time, so the video is all updated live. There is no delay or dropping of frames for the multi-view windows. So here in our multi-viewer, we've currently selected on multi-viewer 1 a 266 layout. And there's an icon representation of what that will look like. On the right-hand side, we're able to select directly on each window and pick the window and assign the source to be assigned to that window. Any physical input, as well as any of the internal graphics and clip store inputs, as well as media stores, aux buses, and mini MEs can all be displayed in any window. With it come parameters for green tally, if that's wanted to be monitored, red tally if it's needed to be monitored, and whether or not there is a border around the window. The border can be off, it can be set to white, or it can be set to a black border. Label refers to the text label and whether or not it's decided to be viewed at all. It can be disabled and turned off. Label position allows the selection of either the bottom of the screen or top of the screen for where the label is going to be. So now if we just jump out so that we can see all of this, when we select the label, putting it on the bottom, we'll move it to the bottom. On the top, we'll move it to the top. No border, a white border, or a black border. Selection of any of these can be done as the user chooses. Label position, bottom, or top. Aspect markers can also be included. Now these aspect markers allow the display to show you where a 4:3 aspect marker in 16:9 would be located. Additionally, when multi-screens are configured, multi-screen borders can be enabled as well. And these markers would display the safe zone of the multi-screen. So here we can see that we're enabling the multi-screen. So now when we look at the screen, we can see that there are two lines that show us the area that will be selected in the dual wide multi-screen. So this is the visible region that has been selected. If you adjust the region, if we adjusted the visual region, then when looking at the multi-viewer, that region is going to move. So as it's slid up and slid down, now this gives the operator the ability to see where will be in focus and set the headroom that they may choose to have. Each box has all of these parameters that can be enabled on a box per box basis. Global settings include things like frame sync labels. When a frame sync label is on and a source has its frame sync turned on, in the label it's clear that input 1 has a frame sync and format converter enabled on it. If it's disabled, then that display will be removed from the multi-viewer. This label can be disabled, and now even when a frame sync is on, it will not be displayed. There are 3 modes for how to function the tally system. If a box label is assigned, now the tallies will all take place on the outside. When label tally is used, the tallies take place on the label body towards the corners, like traditional UMDs. Note that the third option is tally reverse. So here in label mode, green is on the left, red is on the right, green being in preview, red being on air. When label reverse is selected, these items are reversed, and now the red tally box is on the left and the green tally box is on the right. A system clock can also be selected. When we click on the system clock, this can be taken from system, meaning the internal clock generated by the PC, or by the LTC spigot that is on the Graphite card, bringing in separate LTC timecode. And of course, no clock can be displayed as well. When a clock is enabled, position on the screen is selected, foreground color is selected, and background color is selected. If we were to move the crosshair or select it one axis and size at a time, the clock will be re-rendered in that location. This allows the clock to be placed anywhere. Clicking on it, you're also able to bring up the keypad and enter those digits. Any HSL value can be set, as well as using the color picker to move about, or use the predefined colors to set, in this case, the foreground color. The background color has its own tab and also can be set in a similar manner. An overlay can also be applied from any input. The overlay is usually used with view control. View control will be covered in another tutorial and how that operation takes place. However, view control or any input can be layered on top using the overlay. This allows the overlay to be enabled and any source to be selected, and then that source can be keyed on top of the MultiViewer by adjusting the clip. Label transparency can be controlled by the main slider, and this is a global attribute, so this can apply a darkened label to make the label stand out more, or it can be turned all the way off and just the drop shadow of the text remains. MultiViewer 2 has all the exact same options and all of the same available layouts. Any layout, any sources can be assigned, and those can all be applied. With the MultiViewers defined, MultiViewer 1 is available on output 5 and HDMI 1. MultiViewer 2 is available on HDMI 2 or output 6. If we change output 6 to MultiViewer 2, we now see that MultiViewer displayed. There's 2 portions to the configuration of MultiViewer. One is selecting the output at which you're looking for that MultiViewer to be connected to. Upon setting the output, then any changes that take place will be seen. Now, one feature that's really nice is the additional aux bus functionality. If this window is instead changed to an aux bus, aux 1 here, now whatever source is selected on aux 1 will be displayed inside that window in the MultiViewer. Also, the source assignment will change with it as well. Now, this is useful because this can allow dynamic assignment of sources in the MultiViewer via virtual aux buses. This is also part of the reason why there are 20 aux buses in the system. Since numerous monitors could be assigned to virtual buses, this can be displayed inside of the MultiViewer. If there's any questions or requests for us, please send those to switchers@rossvideo.com and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.